Um, Hi, everybody. I'm Rebecca Cohen, founder of the healing system, The Path to Heal. And I have decided to do multiple healing sessions on the virus to understand, on viruses in general, and on the coronavirus to understand why these viruses are in our world right now. The essential premise of the Path to Heal is that we do consciously and unconsciously create our own reality. And if we create something that is unpleasant, we do so in order to keep us safe from something we don't want to feel. So there's no judgment here. It's simply a way of understanding why things exist around us. And then once we understand how that negative situation may be helping us, then we raise the vibration with all of our path tools to unconditional love, and then we choose to give up the negative situation. So I'm here with two very special people today. We have Isabella Stephens. Say hi.
Hello.
and
All.
and Deborah Metzger. And Isabella and Deborah are both Path to Heal practitioners, which means they have studied with me for a year. And in Isabella's case, she has that year happened a while ago, and she just continues to get more and more experience with clients. And so they've both become very seasoned Path to Heal practitioners. And it helps very much when I am doing something live like this to have the energy of other path people, Deborah and Isabella, in this situation to help gain a deeper and deeper understanding. And I'm just posting this on the Path Facebook page after we're done recording, but feel free to share it if you feel that people will find it useful. And just by putting it out there on the airwaves, our vibration is lifted, and we're less likely to bring something that is painful into our energy. There's a few other basic premises. One is that only love is real. So that's a concept that's thrown out there all the time. We say it, we don't necessarily really mean it. But in this case, we are meaning it because we're really delving in. So if we're feeling pain, if we're feeling discomfort, if we're feeling it individually, now I have some viral symptoms that I've had for a couple months now, so they're not related to the corona outbreak, but in my chest. And so for each time I do a session on my virus, it helps me understand the energy of the virus. So I have brought something unloving into my energy, just as the world has done for corona. And the Path to Heal is going to say why. Because we bring something unloving, but it's only love is real. So we only perceive it as unloving. So whatever we bring in to keep us safe, to help us grow. And so it is love because we're bringing it in for these reasons. But when we truly know that only love is real, we no longer have to create something, a distortion of pain to help us remember that only love is real. So because once we really know that only love is real, we don't try to do things. We don't have to keep us safe because then we're naturally safe. So before I begin the path session, do either of you have anything to add? Okay, so I'm going to begin the path session by creating a dream that we're all going to align to. Anyone watching this, anyone who is feeling it energetically and not watching it, in order to get that dream, usually if I were working one-on-one with a client, I would get the dream through asking the client. But this is bigger than me, and so I'm going to pick a card from one of our card decks. And this is my newest card deck, Divine Incarnation. And it's interesting. The card says, channel. My service to the earth is to recognize love and light in every particle of the planet. Once I do, I discover that our hearts are always connected and that there is only one truth, and that truth is only love is real. I am the channel. So there are 66 cards in this deck. The fact that I picked the one that was talking about how we are an open channel. So what is an open channel? That I can receive all the loving blessings from all of the energies in the universe. I can receive and understand the loving blessing from the virus, this tiny microbe, and I can see the loving blessings from the angels and our gods, and I can not only see them, I can receive them, I can feel them, I can share them out. So the dream for this session, I'm going to get it from this card, is my service to the earth is to recognize love and light in every particle of the planet. So once we recognize love and light in every particle of the planet, we can understand why some of it is giving us pain, thus releasing the pain. And this is going to help us open the understanding of let me just sit with this for a second. Let me sit with this and be the channel for a second. I'm going to go into a channel. Always smelling an essential oil and using the tuning fork that I just used helps me keep my ego completely and totally out of the channel. So what I am channeling is my divine light, my personal divinity, the God within. The virus is here partially, but for the work you're doing today, the most important thing for you to realize is that the virus is here to teach the world to be kind. The virus is bigger than politics. The virus is bigger than borders. The virus is so small, which makes it so hard to deal with. But people were tired. The soul of every human being yearns for the end of divisions. The soul of every human being yearns for connectedness. The ego yearns for divisions. So the virus has done two things. One is that it's caused quarantines, and so that's caused separation. But on a deeper level, it's become a unifying force. If you notice, in the United States, the primaries are going on, but compared to a week or two ago, not a lot of talk is happening around our political candidates. The talk is around the virus. And somehow, the bringing in of this virus comes from a recognition that we truly, on a soul level, want to be kind to each other rather than fighting with each other. So things that feel out of our control, where it doesn't matter who our president is and what country we live in, it is still a virus that cannot be, laws do not affect viruses. Politics don't affect viruses. The virus has a path. And so the only thing that we can do is bind together in kindness. And once we do, or even if we don't, but just the recognition of that is why it's here, the virus can leave. Because then we can choose to be kind to each other every day without a little microbe to remind us to do so. So any thoughts? Okay. Let me go into the path and see what we're doing. I'm going to align us to something we call the promise of the path. And I'm aligning us to our body and brain, and I'm writing these things down, but our body and brain function at peak capacity. And success is free and easy. So the path to heal, this system that we're working in, that I've developed, has 20 statements, big statements, that align us to only love is real and align us to the ability to heal everything. And the two things that we're aligning today is our body and brain function at peak capacity, and success is free and easy. So what has happened as the energy of the virus has come in is that we have stopped believing both of these things, that our body and brain can function at peak capacity and that success can be free and easy. So we're going to see where we're going now to help us get there. And this is my path to heal. And each one of these things on the path is a gateway to a larger a dimension, a protocol that helps us understand the topic and helps us align us to all being in service to the heart. So I have these cards. They're for sound healing. They're called magic cards. And each one, and they're part of my book, Sound Medicine, that by Rebecca Cohen, that's on Amazon. And you can actually do the sound healing because all these tuning forks have been recorded. And in order to help the card, I put a magnet. So I have a sheet of paper here that represents everybody who's listening and everyone who's been impacted by this problem. And this magnet helps us get to the heart of the problem. And the card says, magic creates massive openings in my social ease and grace. This is perfect. Because what do quarantines do? Make it unnecessary to have social ease and grace. So this is going to align us to not feeling afraid of social ease and grace. And actually, when I talked about the politics and how on the other side the virus comes in to connect us, a lot of social ease and grace has been disrupted by extreme political philosophies and divides. So there's so much that this virus is trying to come in and help us see that love is bigger than fights and wars. So we just want to see that so we can say thank you to the virus and release it. And that is the goal here. See, the beautiful thing of understanding that we create our own reality is that we can heal everything too. So there is absolutely no judgment in the creating of what we create. It's just a recognition of why we create is love, and how can we be in a space that we don't have to have distorted love and just blissful love. So I'm going to play 3 tuning forks from my recording.
Is there a crystal that gets placed on the...
I have placed an onyx crystal.
Beautiful, thank you.
You're welcome. The first one is from the solfeggio set, the UT. The next one is Genesis, and this is from the Kabbalah set. I'm going to talk more about that in a second. And the third is Malkut. And I'm going to go into my sound medicine book and tell you a little bit about each of these because they're interesting and they came up for a reason. Let's see. So the UT solfaggio came up because it promotes movement. So what has this virus done? The virus is moving. We've limited our own movement. So it also promotes fear-based decision-making rather than, it balances, and it balances love-based decision-making rather than fear-based decision-making. And so next I'm going to the Genesis, and the Genesis is in the Kabbalah set, and it is a very strong DNA tuner, which means that it will go in to our DNA, the vibration of it goes in to our DNA and it releases that which is not serving us. It's for strength and eternal love and overwork. And in some ways, that's what we're all doing here. So this is really the spiritual opening that comes with the Genesis tuner is, I recognize that you are my shadow and I am your shadow. I'm getting almost teary as I say that. I now only know love for both of us. So this virus is a shadow of us and we are a shadow of the virus. What that means, we'll find out during the rest of this session. And then the last one that I have to look up is Malkut. It represents wholeness, ownership, a desire to be healthy. Sometimes we unconsciously want to not feel so great so that we can relax. And in truth, if we just let ourselves relax, we don't have to bring in the sickness to help us relax. And Malkut in general creates massive openings. And then it helps this concept of my world is upside down. Oh, and the vibe, let me play Malkut again because it has a really interesting spiritual opening statement to go with it. So I will play it. And I'm going to read the spiritual opening. I am your healer and you are my healer. We are one. So think about that. So for all of us right now, we are the healer, but also everyone who's receiving this is the healer. Or what about I am the virus's healer and the virus is my healer? So when we see the virus as love, we can understand why it is our healer. Do either of you have anything you'd like to share?
I just had this feeling when you said that virus is just passing through. It's not getting stuck. It's just going. You know, we have all these things around us all the time and they don't affect us because the more we step into love and divinity, the less these things take hold in our life.
So what we're doing here by seeing the virus as love, by seeing it as our teacher on how to be more connected rather than disconnected, how to rise above our propensity to divide and instead connect, then the virus doesn't want to be here anymore. We called it in, so that's when we release it. So let's for a second all visualize sending love to this virus and acknowledging that we don't need you to remind us how to love each other. That's the key here. We can love each other without a reminder. Okay, so let me see what is next.
So Rebecca, something
Yes.
did just come to me regarding this reminder that we all want about being loving and connected. And what is interesting is where the outbreaks, at least in the media, it talks about China and Iran and, you know, the United States. And I'm sure there's, and Italy, of course, and other countries involved. But it's just interesting that it originated in China and is affecting some of these countries that are, you know, even not, if not physically at war, you know, kind of at war with each other in terms of, you know, what we all want. You know, one country's communist, we're capitalist and democratic. And so that just came in about
No,
some
I don't understand what it means.
connect and mitigate all of this unrest between these countries, these large countries that are influencing the planet right now.
So maybe what you're saying is something very similar to what I was saying. Within the United States, we know there's this great political divide.
Mm-hmm.
And that there's a lot of fighting between the sides. I'm right, I'm right, I'm right, I'm right. And so I have been saying that the virus comes in to help us see something, to us, it's bigger than the political divides.
Yeah.
And so maybe what you're saying is United States, capitalist, China, communist, disagree, 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 or, I mean, we're not in war
I
with each
very
other.
much am, because those are two big economies as well. And
Right.
so they affect everyone. And
Right.
what China does affects us, and what we do affects China. And so even though we are separate, we're connected.
Right. And the thing about a virus is it has no borders. It doesn't care if you're Chinese or,
Right.
you know, Japanese or American or, you know, Malaysian. It just doesn't care.
Yeah.
So it connects these philosophies that we see as so disparate, and it connects us all as, unfortunately, but fortunately, it connects us all as human. So what were you saying, Debbie?
I was just going to make that point that you just made. I felt when you were talking about it, I felt like this is a way for us to connect on a human level with people where before we saw a divide, we saw an issue, we saw a problem. Now we want to help them. They're going to help us. Other countries are helping each other. We're all standing together as human beings.
So
Human beings first.
as we work to recognize this just by talking about it here, just by bringing it into consciousness, I'm feeling this great lightness right now. It's a gift to the world, because then we can say, okay, we do not need pain to help us understand that we're all the same.
Oof.
You know, every human is susceptible to a virus. It doesn't matter what religion you are. Age is a factor, but that goes across every piece of humanity. So it's the great connector, the great showing us that that we think we're so separate, and we act as with so separate, and we act as if borders matter and mean something, or the color of our skin or whatever. Or,
Well, and it's about, we think that the economies really matter, and that the politics really matter, and the governments in different places really matter. But then here comes the virus that, you know, sorry for using the word, but just trumps it all, because, and that's not about Trump, it's just that the virus is stronger than all these other things in terms of affecting us. And I think a bit of the concern is that we feel that we're then not in control. Because with the economy, we can be in control, with governments, we can be in control, but with the virus, it seems like something that we're not able to affect, really.
But you see, we have the ultimate control because love is the ultimate control. So when we can show love, and I'm not saying that we need complete love and happiness for this virus to go away, but I am saying that we're sending the energy out to make a difference today from this healing session, that when we show love to the virus within and the virus without, and the Chinese people who have the virus, and the Italians who have the virus, and the Americans who have the virus, and we just recognize that we unconsciously brought it in to help us understand that humanity is all the same, then we can release it very quickly. So I will continue to do sessions daily. And I don't want to create any fear here, because this discussion and this understanding will only raise our vibration. Understanding this, you might be sitting back and saying, oh my God, we all have to love each other to get there. And that's not the answer. It's the ultimate answer, but the answer is to understand our patterns and bringing those patterns into consciousness, which is what I am doing right now with the help of these wonderful souls in my life, is shifting our consciousness. And that alone says, okay, I don't need the virus to feel at one with everybody else. And even as I think about the fact that I've held on to this virus for 4 months, that, and maybe longer, that I know that because of the path to heal and who I am and my ability as a channel and my ability to create this thing, that I have a tool that only a very tiny percentage of the population of the world, tiny, minuscule, has discovered and has access to. And so there's a piece of me that, and I'm feeling this right now, that feels like I don't want to be different than everybody else. I don't want to hold the key to something that other people haven't experienced yet and be the only one that knows how to heal a virus. So therefore, I'm going to unconsciously hold on to it so that I can be like my family and my friends and the world and be the same as everybody else. So I'm the same as somebody who doesn't have this beautiful healing system, and we're all the same. And really my job is to release the virus into the world, allow myself to heal, and set an example for everybody around me so that they hop on board and say, oh, the more loving I can be, mostly to myself, the more loving I can be to myself, the more I can heal. So although the path to heal is a very sophisticated system that helps us figure out why we're not loving to self, the answer is simple. Self-love is the only path to heal. So even without this system that helps us get there, I do recommend this system clearly. If you can, everybody has the key, and that's self-love. So if you can give yourself grace, forgiveness, love for everything that you are, so that helps you stop judging yourself, and then you don't judge others, and then you no longer need to prove who's right and who's wrong, then we're all just a much more loving planet and place. Just finding where to go next. Everybody take a deep breath in. And I'm sniffing some Palmarosa oil. Give Eden's Garden a little plug. $6.95 without shipping for this beautiful high vibration, high energy oil, Palmarosa. I use many oils as long as they are high vibration and farmed sustainably in their indigenous environment. And this is one brand that has made themselves very accessible due to their pricing. So I'm going into the newest book that I'm writing, which is called Path to Heaven.
Yeah, and I just got my newest one.
Oh, beautiful. And this book is really only for Path to Heal practitioners. But you can buy it, you just won't understand it because it is up on Amazon, unless you study with me, which would be wonderful if people listen to this and find the desire to study. But I am going to, and this book helps us release what is keeping us out of heaven on earth. And I'm taking us into something called the lens of compassion.
Can you give us the page number?
I'm not using the same version as you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But it is in the book in the first 10 or 15. So I am just opening to a page where I can take notes. I'm starting with energy that represents unconditional love. I radically accept who I am and where I'm at. However, I also recognize that all is healable and all of my dreams will come true if they are anchored in love. Unconditional love is now my reality. So this is about starting with something we have not been able to manifest. And I have to muscle test to see what to put in these sentences. So sometimes it takes me a little while. Oh, it's what I've been talking about before, relaxation. Forced being home. If people could own their need to relax, there would not be the need for an outside force saying, stay at home. So this is to help everybody own their own needs to relax. And because we haven't been able to manifest relaxation, we are stuck in a cycle. And this cycle, I don't feel worthy of protection, of perfection. So this is a human condition in this cycle. I don't feel worthy of perfection because I'm flawed, because I'm greedy, I'm selfish, I'm lazy, I relax. So people don't feel that they're worthy of perfection. And the next thing that happens is, therefore, I don't experience perfection. And the next thing that happens is, therefore, I'm always disappointed by something. And then, therefore, I am angry and bitter and feel righteous indignation. And then, therefore, I am ashamed of my emotions. And then I go back to not feeling worthy of perfection.
So Rebecca, to me, this cycle that you just described is exactly what Debbie mentioned in the beginning of the session, that somehow when things are too good, we feel like we're not worthy of that kind of world. And so then we go into this cycle so that we go into not experiencing perfection and being disappointed, and then being ashamed of our emotions because we're angry, and that brings down our vibration, and that is, then we become good hosts for the virus because we have lowered our vibration from bliss and happiness and perfection to something lower than that.
Beautiful, beautiful connection. And when I post this this healing session, I'll also post this cycle, knowing that we are healing this I don't feel worthy cycle. So the cycle is broken when we show compassion for being, well, we're just feeling compassion for being ashamed of our emotions. So we're ashamed of how we think about ourselves, how we think about others, our judgments, others judging us. If we can show compassion for our shame, then we release the shame. So this cycle is broken when I show compassion for being ashamed of our emotions because we are human. So now, from a lens of compassion, I understand that we are worthy of embodying the manifestation of in light of relaxation. So when we're no longer ashamed and feel guilty and we're lazy, we're selfish, we're greedy, whatever we're feeling underneath everything, we just allow ourselves to relax, then we don't need a quarantine to help us stay home and relax. We can just relax. Okay, so I'm going to attune us to a sacred truth. And these sacred truths are something that I brought in while I was, sorry, I have to get the book, but while I was creating the Path to Heal, and they actually, being misaligned to these, actually block our full body functioning at peak capacity. So the one I'm aligning us to is self-love is the only path to heal. And I'm using my earth tuner to align us to that. And Debbie, you're using your vibrational body tuner, or you're not? No. Oh, was that a pen, or is that a tuner? Okay.
That's sacred truth.
Okay. I thought you were using the vibrational body tuner. So there's two body tuners that we could use. One is this highest vibration there is, and then we have also the vibration of the earth, a very low vibrational body tuner that is actually, so this on a very low vibration, which you can't hear, is connecting us to all the beautiful earth energies so that we remember self-love is the only path to heal. And this very high vibrational earth tuner is connecting us to the vibration of the earth that the entire planet can feel, because it's a planetary tuner. So I'm just sitting with this for a second. I'm feeling a very light sensation right now. I'm feeling like we have shifted. And I will do more sessions on the virus until I'm not feeling it any longer, which means that when I don't feel it any longer, we, all of humanity, in one way, shape, or form or another, will have shifted the energy out of our consciousness. So I will do these sessions on Facebook as I'm posting this one. I also have a show on Awake TV Network, and we do sessions every Friday at 4 o'clock on Awake TV Network, and every Saturday at noon, all Eastern time. And feel free to tune in there too for these sessions. So as I'm feeling like the energy has shifted, Isabella or Debbie, do you have anything to add?
I just had this very peaceful feeling of contentment and love and just being. Just kind of came to me. Just
I
being.
just get this feeling that there is hope. And that's kind of the vibration that I'm feeling on behalf of everyone.
There is only love.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for joining us. Please feel free to share. Please go to thepathtoheal.com to find out how to purchase any of the books that I've talked about. Please look under the session tab to figure out how to book a session with either me or Isabella. Love you guys. Thank you for joining me. And thank you everyone who's watching.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Love you guys.
Love you. Bye.